All right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I'm your host, Freeway, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Kenny.
I love it.
And we are back. Happy New Year. You know, we did our recap last episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And now we are kind of wrapping up some things that we did last year, but we said that we would do a part 2 of. And on that list of things is like Death Note, we want to do a part 2 of because we only covered up till L's death. And then we did House of the Dragon season 1 review. But we didn't really get to talk about all 10 episodes or like, honestly, the entire scope of those 10 plus hours of content, because how could you talk about 10 plus hours of content in just a 2-hour podcast? So we said that we would revisit it because so many characters didn't even get brought up in our first House of the Dragon season 1 review that we never even talked about Out of Hightower at any point. So like, there's so much to talk about when it comes to House of the Dragon.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
I was thinking, I couldn't exactly remember what we did and didn't talk about. I know we didn't talk much about Daemon or Otto.
Nope.
And I blatantly said in the episode that Daemon's my favorite character of that season.
Yes.
And something that's funny though is, so before this, like 30 minutes ago, I just like wanted to look up a quick recap video just to like do a quick recap of House of the Dragon.
Sure.
So as I was looking up a recap video, I found a House of the Dragon season 1 review by Ben Shapiro. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That's so random.
I didn't watch it, but I really wish I did. I think I'm gonna watch it one day just because I want to see what the fuck Ben Shapiro has to say about House of the Dragon. That is so random. Like, why is he doing like Game of Thrones reviews? Like, what is happening?
It's a great show, but it is very weird that he would be putting out that kind of content. Anyways, so you mentioned Daemon is one of your favorite characters, and I guess I will start off by wanting to unpack that. So why is Daemon one of your favorite characters in House of the Dragon?
I think something that's interesting is I almost said he has a lot of character growth, but I don't even know if that's necessarily true. I think there's an interesting thing where there's a lot of audience growth with Daemon.
Yes.
So when you meet Daemon, you meet him in a certain light. And I think by the end of the 10 episodes, he as a character hasn't changed that much. Like, obviously, he's gone through some changes and he's had some arcs, but I think the core of what his character is hasn't grown that much. He hasn't had that much character development, in quotes, but we've seen so many more facets of his character, and so the audience ends up essentially having a growth arc along with Daemon, and you just understand the facets of his character better and all the different sides of him.
What I want to say about that is I think that the correct term to use for Daemon, because I agree with you, he hasn't really had that much like development. He is pretty much who he is the entire season, but what he does have is a lot of layers.
Yes.
He is a character with a lot of layers, and you don't get all the layers in the beginning, right? So like you think that you know him episode 1, and he's kind of like this badass whoring guy, right? And it seems very like antagonistic. He seemed like he was kind of an antagonist episode 1. He gets into a really crazy argument with his brother, the king, and it gets to a point where he makes a step forward in an aggressive manner that almost makes it seem like he would fight his brother, who he knows can't fight on his level at all. And and then he gets banished to go back home to his wife. And that's episode 1. He tells his brother, like, you're weak, Viserys. Everyone knows it. All the people in your council know it.
And they also, like, they set up the funny thing with Kristen Cole where they built, in episode 1, they built up Kristen Cole as like this commoner guy that they almost try to make the audience root for him.
Yes.
And then Daemon, as we know, is like from royalty. It sets up a natural thing where like you might favor Kristen Cole a bit over Daemon, just the way it's set up.
Yes.
And it's funny because they rug pull the shit out of me on that front.
Bro, the way I feel about Kristen Cole by the end of the series is I fucking hate that guy. There are some strong F words that rhyme with maggot that I would love to use for Kristen Cole. Mind you, I can say it if I wanted to. I'm not going to because it's that toxic. I am allowed to say it though, right? For obvious reasons. But like Kristen Cole is such a fucking asshole. I can't stand that character. And I don't know how they changed him so much by episode, what was it? 5 when that's like that last episode of them being younger. Because I think they do 5 episodes with young Rhaenyra. And then they do 5 episodes with the older Rhaenyra and stuff.
I think so.
Episode 5, but by the time you get to that point where Kristen Cole literally beats someone to death with his bare hands.
In public.
Everything about him from that point forward is just cringe and awful. He's like the worst kind of person because and this is something I believe about Allison too. They truly believe that they're super righteous people. They
Yes.
believe that what they are doing is for the good of the realm. They believe that they're like righteous and pious and they're prudent and have all this fortitude and that they're following the seven and they think that they're like they're pretty much modern religious people. Like I feel the same way about people who follow modern day religion hardcore. They're always pointing fingers, they're always judging people. You got like the pastors on the pulpit telling everybody about all their sins, but then the pastor like low-key has some young girl pregnant somewhere, or he's stealing from the congregation, or he's buying like yachts and fucking scamming the government. Like there's this one pastor who's really famous right now, and apparently he did like the PPP loan fraud thing where he created a bunch of fake LLCs. And he's all this fraud shit, but he presents as like obviously a holy man and someone who's all above everyone else in his congregation. And these people just tend to be fucking awful at the core. And the best scene for Kristen Cole to me was when he called Rhaenyra a spoiled cunt. And then later on, a couple episodes later, there's a scene with him and Aemon going to the Street of Silk. And he said, we should always speak of women in like a high esteem. He says it in some way that they talk in Game of Thrones.
Like, he says like all women are like should
the
be treated like mother, which is like one of the seven.
Yes.
Yeah, he's real hypocritical. He's super righteous or believes to be super righteous. Him and not Rhaenyra, him and Alicent, like you said. And they're some of the most dangerous kind of people. The people that truly believe that like through it all, they are the ones that are right.
Yes. And religion,
they are the scariest.
Yes. And religion for them is a sword and shield. It is the perfect sword and the perfect shield. So when you attack them, they just use religion as a defense, and they can always quote some kind of scripture, right? And then when they want to attack you, they use religion and quote a scripture in the same tongue. And it's ridiculous because it makes them feel so empowered. And I deal with a lot of this in real life because I know a lot of people who are super religious in my family. And I've dealt with this whole guilty thing where, you know, I stopped going to church at a point and I got guilted for that. And then there was points where I thought that like my lifestyle was wrong and all of these bullshit things that you're told in church because it's all control. Like all of it is just control. The whole fucking like the Bible and stuff like that. Not to get like all deep on religion, but the show does make a big point about religion, how it controls people. And so I have to relate it to my real life. You know, that's just the reality of it. But yeah, I really hate Kristen and to a degree Alicent, although I do sympathize with her a bit more, and I'll talk about that later. But back to Daemon. So whereas Kristen is like a character in the first 4 episodes where you kind of like, okay, I'm cool with this guy. And then he turns into like this really, really terrible person throughout the season.
Well, you know what the other thing that's awful about Christian is that his whole thing is that like he has this honor and like that white cloak means so much to him and him being part of the King's Guard and all this stuff. He has this super strong sense of honor, and Rhaenyra sullied that honor because she wanted to make him
he also sullied that honor because
he sullied the honor, but in his mind he thought whatever his justifications were.
He thinks Rhaenyra sullied it too, though. So what you said is right, but the reality, like, so what he said is what he believes, and that's how people are. But the reality is, bro, you fucked that girl because you wanted to fuck that girl. Like, you are complicit, and you are just as much in the wrong as, you know, her for even antagonizing you to do that, or like, you know, tempting you with her body. But yes, I get what you're saying. I just want to say, like, we realize that he also was at fault for his
at the end of the day, it was his fault. Like, it's like nobody can make you do anything, right?
Yes.
And so he did that, and like if his honor really meant that to him, then he wouldn't have done that, and wouldn't have needed to like go back and fix the code. But the point is, he's one of those people that like, first of all, he still thinks he's righteous, but as soon as like his honor was tainted, it feels like it's like if you have something like pure white snow, and like if you drop like one thing of ink on it, it's like ruined. Like he went from that to now like they're in the King's Council and they're like, we're going to usurp the throne. And one guy's like, well, we can't do that, and he fucking throws his head into the thing and kills him. Like he just starts killing people. Like he just like loses it.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying too. It's kind of like he snaps and just becomes full villainous, like full villainous character. After it's like at one point, he is a noble, like honorable person, and then he has this one bad thing happen with his white cloak where he has sex with somebody he's not supposed to, and after that, it's all bullshit. Because Oh, episode 7 for me is the best episode of the season. That's the episode where Rhaenyra and Allison have the really, really big fight over the children, and Aemon loses his eye. And that's the
Hmm.
episode where Allison says, "Bring me the eye of Lucerys Valerian." And I was like, "Oh my fucking goodness!" But why did Kristen actually make a move?
It was insane. That episode, I think we did. I still cannot believe how open they were to just go against the king in front of
Yes,
the king was like, sit down, and they were like, kill him. And then
yeah,
like Kristen Cole was still with it. I was like, what is
yeah.
happening
When
right
she
now?
said, "Bring me the eye," he said, "I'm your Lord Protector," and he just like unsheathed his. I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?" So that was wild to me. But say all to say, Damon's character, on the other hand, is just consistent. He starts off as kind of a half villain, half badass character, and he kind of just stays that throughout the entire thing. Like, not really villain, because it really depends on your perspective. At the end of the
Yeah,
day,
you learn more.
at the end of the day, Aemon, or not Aemon, Damon, their names are going to confuse me a little bit, only because literally Aemon is just the name Damon with the D put at the end, which I think is really cool because they look alike, they act alike, and George R. R. Martin said that he made them to be a mirror of each other. Like Aemon and Damon literally are supposed to be mirrors of each other, which is really dope. But anyway, Damon is consistent throughout the show, and he cares about his family above all. And that is something that you can't really question throughout the show. Like there are points where people think that he wants to usurp the throne from his brother, or like Otto literally believes that he would kill Viserys, and he says it
Yeah.
in a coy way, right? Like if your demise was to happen timely or untimely, he says. And Viserys is like, I'm not going to sit here after I just lost my fucking wife and son and hear you guys talk about, like, I'm not going to have a feast for crows, he says.
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and let you guys talk about, oh, my brother may kill me and all this other bullshit. And Damon's listening to this conversation in some secret room, and he's smiling, which at the time when he was smiling, I was like, oh shit, Damon is laughing at Viserys thinking that he won't do it. But in reality, he was never going to do that. And we get that clarity. If you didn't get it before, you get it episode 8 when he puts the crown back on his brother's head when he takes that long walk, which, by the way, probably one of the greatest scenes in all of Game of Thrones.
That scene is incredible. That walk, like that slow walk, the fucking he
Yeah.
just look like he looks like an undead.
He
He's
looks like a
just
fucking ghoul, man.
he's just coming in
You ever see
and like
Vampire in
the
Brooklyn?
mask and the crown. No, I haven't.
Vampire in Brooklyn is a movie that I believe Eddie Murphy is one of the main characters in it. I think he is the main character, actually. Eddie Murphy plays the vampire in Brooklyn. But basically, what it is in this movie, he has a human who he appoints as his ghoul, and that person just serves him whatever he wants,
Mhm.
whenever he calls for him. That person's just there. But as the show goes on, or as the movie goes on, I should say, literally, the person that starts off as a normal looking human, but he starts to literally decay over time. So by the end of the movie, his loyal ghoul just starts. He loses an eyeball. His hand pops off at one point. It's kind of comedic because it's an Eddie Murphy movie. But like
Yeah.
literally by the end of it, he looks like Viserys. Is what I always think about, like Viserys. But I'm not gonna lie, I might cosplay as Viserys at some point because that mask that he had on, the gold half mask, that shit is kind of fire.
That shit is so fire. Everything about him was fire. Like he went up there looking like a dark sorcerer. Like it
He,
looked insane. Like
yeah, he looks like Dark Ruler Hades.
yeah,
If
he
Dark Ruler
does.
Hades was a person, like that big ass overcloak that he has to hide the because he's missing an arm too, right, or like part of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
huge,
was
yeah,
I love that scene. That it is one of the best scenes. For me, it's one of the best scenes in like that I've ever seen.
true,
Like
true.
there's that scene is just so strong and powerful.
The
Like
emotion,
that slow walk and then everything about it and him like kind of stumbling and then
yep.
like his brother being there to put the crown back on his head because that's the thing. Like a lot of people had this thought that ain't Damon. See, now you messed me up. I don't think I would ever mess that up if it wasn't. I don't think I would ever mess that up. I'm putting that all on you. But anyway, Damon, everybody really believed that Damon was out to like fuck everybody. I want to be the king and I'll kill my brother for it. But
Yeah,
he, like you said, he was about his family. And he, like in the one conversation he has with him, he says, like, dog, I should be your right hand. Like,
yes, he does say that.
like, I, it's not even that he wants to be king. It's like, I mean, obviously he wants to be king. He
Yes,
would
he
like to
does.
be king.
Yeah,
But it's not even that he wants to be king. He wants his family to be strong. He wants to be his brother. He wants to be the hand of the king. He needs to
yeah.
be like, he knows his brother doesn't have like it to like keep people in
Yeah, he
line.
doesn't have the authority that you need to be king because people have to low key fear you in that world.
Yeah.
I usually don't agree with the whole rule by fear thing, but I do get Damon's perspective that you can't let people walk over you and you can't let people get one over on you in the Game of Thrones world. And the only reason I say that is because I watched all of Game of Thrones. Like I'm very you know what I mean? Like I'm very jaded to the idea that you cannot be a nice guy. You can't
Yeah,
be.
it's
Nice
you
guys,
die. You nice guys die.
nice guys die bad. They die horrible deaths. Nice guys are Ned Stark. They get killed in season 1, right? So he's telling his brother, and Viserys does die season 1, but he's telling his brother, like, listen, man, you're weak and everyone knows it. So I should be your right hand. And episode 1 is actually cool because Daemon comes in and he has the City Watch, where he creates it, I guess. And he literally,
Yeah, the gold cloaks. He creates the gold cloaks,
which is so cool. And so we get to see the origin of that. But what's also dope about it is that he delivers punishment day 1. Like, I'm in the city and I'm getting people to fuck together, because what we're not going to do is we're not going to have all these noble lords and high ranking families come to King's Landing and get, murdered, stolen from, raped, and all the other crazy things.
And then he just died. What was that? That was wild.
Listen, I think we joked about this in the last episode we did, but it was really funny how they would just call out like raper, and they would just cut the guy's penis off. And we were wondering, in this time where there's no forensic evidence or anything like that, how do they know that someone, like, they literally pointed at a guy in an alleyway and said raper and then cut his junk off, which, maybe we just have to assume, because a lot of the season, unfortunately, you do have to assume some things in this season. But I think you just have to assume that they somehow know that this guy was caught in the act of actual raping someone, because it was such a weird thing in episode 1. I was like, what the fuck?
They were, man, they got that episode was wild.
And cut a guy's hand off. But that was Damon's doing. And I still love the scene where the king said, I hope you don't have to maim my entire city to get this peace you talk about. And he was like, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. He was like, well, I mean, we'll find out. They can fuck around and find out.
Yeah, they can fuck around and find out. But yeah, there was a lot with Daemon throughout the whole show. And the whole thing with Rhaenyra, because I always wonder, and it's still kind of unclear to me. The show does a good job of making his intentions unclear. So what I mean by that is episode 4 is where I'm gonna use air quotes here, he corrupts Rhaenyra. He takes her out to the Street of Silk. He shows her whorehouses. He shows her sex. He shows her, debauchery, all these bad things that she was just kind of shielded from, because she's a high-ranking noble. She's literally the princess, and now she's also the heir. So he shows her all of these things that he enjoys, and that he feels like she's similar to him, which he kind of knows that. So he, again, air quotes, he corrupts her. But there is a question of what his intention was. Was he actually attracted and interested in his niece, or was he really trying to get back at his brother? For one, banishing him. For two, trying to make a fool out of him. Episode 3, when he sends that letter about, I can help you with the crab feeder. Because you remember Damon's reaction to that letter was actually pissed. Like, he beat the shit out the messenger. Like, they say don't kill the messenger, but Daemon is the guy that will kill the messenger for sure. So I say all to say, episode 4, when he comes back and he's greeted by Viserys again. This is a return to the capital. He's greeted by his brother, and he kneels. And it's all like this, oh, I'm back and I'm better. I'm a nice guy, cut my hair. I won he said, I won it for you. I think when he says about the stepstones.
Which, by the way, I am so happy there was like another time skip to make his hair grow back out. I was not feeling short-haired Daemon. The short hair was not working. I'm so happy they grew his hair back out. Oh my God. I was not a fan. I was like, oh, I hope his hair is not short for the rest of this.
Yeah. I actually, I have a different perspective, I guess, but I actually really like the short-haired Daemon. I'm not going to lie. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that long-haired Daemon looks bad or that he's inferior. I'm just saying that I actually do like short-haired Daemon, but
yeah.
To each his own. Episode 4, he corrupts his niece, and it seems like they kind of frame it in both ways. They frame it like he is genuinely attracted to her, but that he can't have sex with her for some reason, right? Like, he gets right to the moment and then he can't perform. But that was also kind of a recurring theme throughout that show, because I think his actual wife said something to him before he killed her about, like, you could never finish things. So it's kind of like we're supposed to believe that he has a hard time performing, but at the same time, this guy ends up having like 6 kids throughout the show. So So at the end of the day, it's like, well, that doesn't really check out. But at the time, you know what I mean? Like, at the time, by episode 4, I feel like that's the second time you see him where he's having this issue of being called out for being impotent. And I just feel like he does things to get back at people in a sly way. And it could be that two things are true. It could be that, yes, he wanted to get back at Viserys. So I'm going to go after your daughter, your precious daughter. I'm going to sully your daughter, and that'll get under your skin. And also, I low key just like my niece. Like, I look, because they're Targaryens.
It could be like he likes her anyway. Like, it's one of those things where like he had eyes for her anyway, and then he was like, "Oh, I want to." He was just like in a mood, wants to get back at his brother, and he's like, "You know what? I like her anyway, so I'm gonna go."
So two things can be true.
And then in the last moment, he ends up not doing it. And on one end, you could say it's like maybe his conscience got to him.
Yep.
But on the other end, I think he even says, and whether or not you believe it, he says like he wasn't into it anymore when she was into it.
Yeah.
And you could believe that to be true, or you could believe that he was just saying that as a defense.
Yep.
And I do think that it's gray. I don't think it's smart to just take exactly what he said at face value and be like, oh, no, that's what he said, so that's what he means.
Yeah.
Because I think the framing of the show and the framing of the character could show you that that's not necessarily true.
Yep, I agree. And so the other things about Daemon is, when I said he's a badass earlier, I want to elaborate. Episode 3, the crab feeder episode, was wild. That whole sequence, first of all, the cinematography of when he comes up on the shore, he waves a white flag, he puts his sword down, he gets on his knees, and he basically submits. Like, right, crab feeder, you won. We lost. It's been fucking 3 years. We've accomplished nothing in 3 years. You won. Take my sword, take my head, I guess, too, because, like, that's what they would do. And then he just decides to go full on Rambo, one-man army. That run, like, everything about the beginning of that, it's a 20-minute sequence. That is the last 20 minutes.
And there's no dialogue. I don't think there's dialogue spoken for the last 20 minutes of that episode.
Actually, it goes even further than that, because you are right, and this is something that we were saying when this actually happened. Like, when that episode aired, I remember saying, holy shit, when Daemon came off his dragon, right? He gets off his dragon, he comes down the hill, he sees the council of everybody deciding what they're going to do, what their plans are, and he gets the letter from his brother. He doesn't speak from the time he steps off his dragon to the time the episode actually goes off in its roll credits. He never says a single word. It is all faces and action. And I have a meme saved in my phone that I use pretty often. It's just the one where he's reading, and it's kind of like that face crane thing that he does. Because Matt Smith is such a fucking brilliant actor that literally with no words at all, he can just speak with his face. And this is something that he does in other roles too. I heard that he's fantastic as Doctor Who, but I also heard that, or I know he's fantastic in The Crown. He actually plays Queen Elizabeth's husband in The Crown, and he's fucking brilliant in that too. He speaks with his face a lot.
He's an incredible actor, and then also like incredible shout out to the directors and everybody that last 20 or so minutes is so good, because me and Fraser were both people that overall in stories, what we value more than anything is the story. The dialogue, the lore, the things that are happening, right?
It's the reason why we both agree that One Piece is the best shonen, the best written manga. Like,
the story is more important than the action. Now, that said, though, that when there's something to be said about how incredible it is to have a sequence where there's no dialogue, there's no words, but there's still a strong story being told through pure acting and action. And like it is really impactful. It's one of the things that makes that one movie what's the name of the movie where he's stranded on the island and all he has is the ball, the Wilson ball. Is it Castaway?
I think it is Castaway. I think it's Castaway.
But that movie is fucking incredible because there's actually not that much dialogue in the movie. The whole movie's like a guy in a fucking ball. And there's a part where there's like this super emotional scene where he's talking to or about the ball. Like, that movie's incredible. And like, in order to pull off that level of acting and cinematography and action and directing is like very, very, very difficult to pull off on all over. And so anyway, the point is the last 20 minutes of that episode is an incredible feat to pull off in order to drive and keep everything interesting with no dialogue. And it still not feel like spam.
Yeah. Sometimes action sequences and things, Game of Thrones doesn't have this problem, but other shows do, where they kind of use action when they don't have pretty good writing. So they're just like, well, fuck it, we'll just put a fight in here somewhere, or we'll just throw dragons somewhere. Which actually there is a scene in this season that I just really hate it. It's not in the book at all. So this one is actually made up, and there's no. So what I mean by that, in Fire and Blood, it's episode 9, I want to say. It's when Rhaenys burst up from the ground and she just like uses her dragon to intimidate everybody on the green side. That scene, and I want to talk about that a little bit after this, but that scene is an action scene that was supposed to be like a wow factor because episode 9 historically always has a big wow in Game of Thrones. So they felt the need to throw that in there, but that doesn't actually happen in the books. Like actually it does not. And it's that one just doesn't really make sense because it's like you could end the entire show right here and you doing this and killing hundreds of people doesn't actually accomplish anything. Like it was just so annoying. But the season 1 episode 3 with the crab feeder thing, it showed one, Damon doesn't like getting help from anyone, including his own family, because if it makes him look bad or less of a man, he's just that kind of toxic mess. He was willing to get a lot of people killed, basically.
Yeah, his deadly sin is pride.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's Vegeta. He literally is Vegeta in every possible way, and I'm not surprised that he's Kenny's favorite character. He's also just one of the best characters in the actual show. I hope he lives a lot longer because even though Game of Thrones found a way to, they could kill anybody in Game of Thrones, and that show somehow still was fucking top quality no matter who died. Like I thought that after Ned, when I was very young, I thought when Ned died, I couldn't believe it. I was like, how's the show going to continue with Ned without Ned? And little did I know, the show would actually continue to, like actually easily. The show would be insane with him dead. But yeah, it's a show that where they can kill people and somehow it doesn't lose quality. And so in House of the Dragon, like him doing that feat where he was about to get himself killed and a lot of other people killed, it was scary because I was like, yo, he could actually die here. Like technically, he could just die because that's the kind of show we're watching where characters don't just survive because of who they are. It doesn't work like that. It never has. And he accomplishes his goal. He ends up leaving with half of the crab feeder's body. And that's just such a badass moment because that's kind of what we were talking about. Like Daemon is a badass. He's also antagonistic. He's kind of like an anti-hero, I guess is a good a good way to frame him.
Yeah, maybe. It's tough to say. It's tough to really frame exactly what he is, especially in the scope of Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones is, even if you go back to the original season 1, it's a show that like really plays with your perception of things. Like you said, Ned Stark dying in season 1.
Yep.
That season's built up in a way where you feel like Ned Stark is the main character. He is the hero or whatever you want to.
Yep.
And he dies. So it's like, how the fuck did the show continue without its main character? So it's like it's difficult to really place labels on certain characters because the show or the books, they progress in a way that like isn't traditional. It's not like this is the main character and these are his sidekicks. Like it's not that kind of story.
Right.
And it's very, very good for it. Not to say every show should be like Game of Thrones, but the way Game of Thrones has been crafted has is really beneficial to the way it is and like my enjoyment of it.
And the last thing I'll say about Daemon before I want to switch over to like Otto Hightower, Daemon is a character that just calls things the way they are, and I really like that about him because I am like in real life I am very blunt. I'm known to be very blunt, almost to a fault. Like sometimes I can offend people unintentionally just because of the way I say things or the way I word things. But I'm very blunt, and I've always been. My teacher in first grade used to call me brutally honest because one day I walked up to her. And I didn't, innocently, I said, how come your face is different than your neck? And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, the color of your face is different from the color of your neck. And I didn't understand. Like, she just had makeup on. Like, she just had a full face of makeup.
My God.
And I asked her as a 5-year-old kid, like, why is your face and your neck so different? Because they really were off. But that's like a brutally honest thing for anyone to say. But that trait didn't change after I was 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Or 15 or 20. Like I just always have been that kind of person.
I love kids, man, because I have a nephew that I remember when he was younger, and we have this other family member. She was really fat, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, my nephew walks up to her one day, and or not really nephew, he's really a cousin, but whatever. He walks up to her one day and he goes, "Why do you have a butt on the front?"
Oh my God. I'm done. I'm fucking. Oh my God. That's insane.
He just like asked her, and it's so innocent.
Oh
but
my God.
That's going to make everyone in the room feel so awkward. And it's so innocent, but he's like 5 or 6 at the time, and he goes like, "Why do you have a butt in the front?"
Not
and it's
front
like,
butt.
Oh my God.
That is so crazy. I don't even know what to say to that. I used to say though, for myself, that I do sometimes feel like I am slightly on a spectrum because of my lack of ability to understand why sometimes people get upset at some things. Because in my head, I'll say something that I feel like is just a fact, right? So like how you said your cousin or whatever is fat.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say something very similar, like how he said, "How do you have a front butt?" or whatever. I'll be like, "You're really fat," as a kid. And that's just not something that you say. It's just such a rude thing to say. But I would understand why facts like that make people so angry. Like, you know you're fat. I know you're fat. I'm just bringing it up. But like, why are you saying that? You're being an asshole, and people get really upset about it. So I used to always say, like, I may be on the spectrum because I've just like, again, why is your face different from your neck? Like, why are they two different colors? The other kids probably noticed it too. They just didn't say anything about it. But here I
Yeah.
am, just blatantly asking my teacher, like, raise my hand. Hey, I have a question, and it's that. Like, it's fucking that. Like, I'm a little terrorist.
That is,
but,
that is terrorist activity.
but yeah, I like that Damon calls things out. And when he brings up Otto in episode 1, Viserys says something about Otto being his hand, and he's like, Otto's a cunt. Just like that. He's like, Otto's a fucking cunt. Like, literally, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, damn, this guy he's the real deal. Like, I fuck with him heavy. Also, episode 7, when they were having the funeral for Damon's wife, his second wife anyway, when they were having the funeral, Otto tries to greet him at some point. He says like, "Oh, welcome back, welcome back, Prince," or something like that, Prince Daemon. And Daemon says, "No matter how much the leech eats, its hunger grows still." Something like that. Like, no, I think he said like, "No matter how fat the leech gets, its hunger grows still." And literally, that was all he said. And he walked past Otto, and I love that because Otto was trying to be nice. Like, "Oh, your wife died. Let me fake be nice to you."
Yeah, he's being fake nice though. Like it's
Because
not. He
like,
doesn't mean that shit.
yes, because those two characters hate each other. Let's be clear. Otto and Damon literally hate each other, and it's known. So
Yeah.
don't try to be.
Episode one. There's the tournament,
Yep.
and the first opponent Damon picks is Otto's son. He's on his horse. He gallops past, and then he goes to like the person with the high tower flag. It's Otto's son, and he points at him, and that's his first opponent. And he just brutalizes him.
He
Like
does. I thought he was gonna kill him. If I'm being honest, I was like, "Oh
I
no,"
thought so
because
too.
he could do it, and there would be nothing that Otto could do about it. But luckily, Damon is actually not. It's interesting. Damon is a savage, but in certain instances, he's not as savage as he truly could be because he could have killed that man if he wanted to. But yes, he just says things the way they are. In episode 7, when he said that about the leech just grows bigger no matter how fat it gets, just insinuating that, Otto, I know that you are literally sucking the life out of my brother. I know that you're using him. I know that your whole family is just fucking leeches and trying to get to the top. And I'm not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And just because my wife died and it's a sad day for my family and all that shit, don't try to act like me and you like each other or have ever exchanged pleasantries ever. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue to insult you, and you can go back to continuing your backstabbing that you do to me, and let's just keep it the way it is. Let's not be fake with each other. And I fuck with that energy heavy. Like, I get it. Like, I understand that energy. And though in real life, like, because this is fiction, but in real life, there are times when I really, really, really don't like someone, and I just want to always be like mean or nasty to them. But because I'm a
Yeah.
human being, I just can't bring myself to truly just always keep it. I choose violence in every scenario. Like, I can't, like, I want to. It's fucked. Like, I really do want to a lot of times, but there's like, I'm still a human being at the end of the day. Like, I can't just turn off my emotions like it's an episode of Vampire Diaries.
Yeah. And in real life, there's more or different consequences. Like
Yes.
nobody's writing the story to make you come out on top in the situation.
That's true. That's very true. You're right about that. Okay, so let's talk about Otto, because somehow Otto was missed completely in our first episode of House of the Dragon, season 1 review, and he's a really big character. And a lot of the story until episode 9, where it's made, I guess it's actually made clear episode 7. But before episode 7, I would argue that it's unclear if he is truly what I would consider an evil type of guy, or somebody who's really trying to do something nefarious with the king and his family. Like, it wasn't 100% clear, because you could say up to a point that he was serving the king, and he was, right? Like, it is clear that like Otto was looking out for the king's best interest in pretty much every episode. All the things that he suggested were like, this is truly good for you. The thing is, though, because two things can be true, it was also good for his own family.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I wouldn't necessarily say it's him being like a villain or anything, but he was definitely grimy, like
Yes, and it's
quick.
clear.
Like
Yeah,
when
go ahead.
he sends his daughter, when he just like the king's wife dies and he's like, "All right, honey, go spread them legs, put on that
Yeah,
nice dress." Like he's just like so slimy, so quick. Like, and his daughter at the time I think is like canonically like 16 or something like that,
yeah,
and he's just like
she's pretty young.
he's like, "Go ahead, like go with that 70-year-old, or he's not 70, but go with that 50-year-old man."
Yo, and he aged him up hard. You know what though? The white hair on the Targaryens does make them look a lot older.
Yeah,
So it's fine. But I agree. I agree with what you said. Like he is gross. I thought episode 1 when he sends her, Allison, his daughter, into the king's room right after pretty much like he loses his wife. I thought that was gross. Like wear one of your mother's dresses. That was just, and then the way he touched her in episode 1, I remember I thought at the time when we did our episode 1 review, I was like, oh God, is there something weird going on? Cause she kind of like moves her body away from him in a way
yeah.
that
That would have been
insinuated.
real weird if it got revealed that like he's also doing stuff to her on the low. Like that would have been
Yeah,
so
because
weird. Luckily, that never happened. But
remember though the thing with her fingers, her fingernails in episode 1.
yeah, yeah,
She
because she
like
would always like she had like a nervous tick and she would like
yes,
rip them apart.
and I don't think anything came of that after that. Like we never got to see her fingers be destroyed after that. But that was something too. So I thought, oh God, maybe she's one of those people who was molested or something, and then this is something that she does. Like people who cut themselves, like there's
Yeah,
always some kind
yeah,
of trauma that happened at home. Not to say that everyone who cuts themselves was molested, but there's usually a trauma response. Is
yeah.
what that is. So I thought that they were insinuating something. Anyway, back to Otto though. Otto, I thought in the first couple episodes when he was suggesting things, because I think in episode 2 is Aegon is born, or no, episode 3 actually. Episode 3,
Yeah,
Aegon has his second birthday.
yeah. They do like a 2 or 3 year skip.
Yep. So episode 3, Aegon has a birthday, and well, first of all, Aegon's born to begin with, but Aegon has his second birthday, and there's this whole conversation of, who Rhaenyra's going to marry, and at one point Otto says, "Oh, just have Rhaenyra marry Aegon, like your son, like marry your daughter to your son." And Viserys like, "What? Marry my fucking 17-year-old daughter to my 2-year-old son? Are you mad? Are you fucking mad?" But Otto was like, "Yo, this would actually help a lot of things ease because in reality, and I said this too, in reality, what he was really doing is if Aegon is married to Rhaenyra, Aegon's actually just going to be the heir to the throne, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's no world where she actually has the power if a man like Aegon, who has the technically higher, no, not even technically, literally he has the higher claim because he's a man. Just in this world, that's how it works. So if they were to get married, there's no way that he would be king regent or whatever the fuck you would call him.
yeah. It's funny too because, like you said, Otto throughout the series he does try to counsel the king in the way that's best for the king, and but it always seems to lead back to benefiting himself. Like
Yes,
when like he did counsel that it wouldn't be a bad idea um to when the king was suggested to marry Corlys's daughter or something.
yes, yes,
Like he says like that actually would be a good idea, but I think even in that scene he kind of casts doubt on like he says it's good, but then he sort of subtly casts some doubt on it.
well, he said it isn't a bad idea to do that because of they're the second strongest, or they are the wealthiest family actually, right? Like the Valerians are the
Yeah.
wealthiest family and they have the fleet. He says, so I totally understand why you would want to do that. He's like, however, there is something to be said about the fact that Corlys is in open war with the triarchy or whatever they were called, and
Yeah.
that was against the king's wishes, right? The king did not want to have any.
Yeah.
The king
So
did
that's
not
the
want to be in
thing.
war.
Like he's so skilled at being slimy because did his best to position himself in a way to give good advice, even if that advice didn't benefit himself,
Right.
while still like subtly being like, I still want this to benefit me.
Yes, he's very good at that. So it's unclear, like if 100% certainty that he was working against the king until episode 9, when it was 100% clear when the king dies. So episode
Dude,
9, go ahead.
that episode pissed me off.
Oh
As in, it
man,
was a great episode.
oh, one of the best.
The amount of snakery, the amount of fucking
You're right.
snakery and just bullshit that these people end up doing in episode, like immediately. They're so quick to
It's
be
a
like,
bro. It's still nighttime when the king dies, and the second he dies, right? The second they find out, what is it? Otto locks down the entire castle, Like he locks
Yeah.
down the entire Red Keep. He's like, no one's in, no one out.
You want to talk about open rebellion? Like, just fucking rebellion right there. Just
Yes.
completely going against the wishes
Yes.
of the king, your friend, whatever you want to call
Also,
it.
the most telling thing, and the reason why I even brought this whole topic of was he truly against the king? Because again, I always say this line. I love this is like my favorite line, but two things can be true or whatever. I love that line. Anyway,
Yeah.
two things can be true. So yes, he was helping the king. He was making sure that the king's realm was doing well and prospering, all those good things. But he was really also backstabbing him. And I say that because in episode 9 it's revealed when Allison comes into the room and everyone is already there, right? And they're having a meeting, and Allison walks in and she sits down and she goes, "Before he died, Viserys told me that he wanted Aegon to be king." And everybody's like, "Oh, cool." Anyway, so our plans to make Aegon II the next heir to the throne, let's continue. And she goes, "Wait a second. Am I to believe that this entire time there was a plan to put my fucking son on the Iron Throne that had nothing to do with me?" And they were like, "Well, we don't want to bother you with these treacherous deeds that we're doing here."
It's always, dude, when people are being slimy, they're always like, "Well, you are so high and mighty. We didn't want to bother you with our
Yes.
peasantry talk. We just wanted you to be comfortable, and we'll handle all of this for you."
So
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yes, get the absolute fuck out of here. What I love about that scene, what I think is so brilliant about that scene, though, is that I was thinking, oh, this is going to be the weapon that they use to make Aegon II king. When in reality, that information didn't matter.
It all that information did was sort of help because Allison, whether you like her or don't like her,
Yep.
She has like her kind of crazy bits to her, but she also still a part of her seems like wants to be a good slash honorable person,
I agree
even
with
if she
you.
does some other things. So for her, that information did matter to her. It's
Yes.
possible that maybe if her husband didn't say the Aegon thing, that maybe she would have been completely against this plan
Yep.
and ended up siding with Rhaenyra.
Yep.
But now, even though she's kind of against the plan and she's appalled that this plan was an action behind her back, behind her husband's back, because in her head she's like, well, right as he died, he told me this, so I guess the ends justify the means.
Right. It's like, okay, even though you guys have conspired to do some fuck shit behind my back, she also kind of came into the room with that. That was the first thing she said. She's like, before he died, he told me that he wanted Aegon to be king. He said it. He said it in his sleep. And everyone looked at her, and the response was, all right, so anyway, let's back to our plans. And she got upset. And I love that the writers did that. I think that is like such a key thing because it just shows you Otto for who he truly is, right? And he's like, close the doors. No one is allowed to leave this room. And then the one guy speaks out, and it goes back to what you were talking about with Kristen, where Kristen kills the guy. Beesbury is his name, I believe. He kills that guy.
And then, by the way, this is now the second person that Kristen's killed. and not an honorable kill either.
No.
Like, because he's a royal guard. He's gonna like
he's also
in
wearing
that
armor
position.
In both cases. He's armored, like armored fist. Armored fist.
And he these are honorable kills. And the captain of the royal guard or king's guard essentially like points a sword at him. It's like, dude, you're fucking wildin'. And then it ends up ending where this guy, he also points out, like, you guys, like, I serve the king, and I don't know what shit is going on here, but this is not holy. Like, this is some bullshit. I don't see
a king here, so fuck off.
Yeah, he takes his cloak off and he retires. He's like, this shit is not honorable. This shit is not up to speed. You guys are, like, doing dealings in the dark.
What I love
go ahead.
What I love about Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is all the callbacks to actual Game of Thrones, because as you remember, the same thing happened where the throne got usurped by Joffrey and Cersei, essentially. They usurped the throne, so the wrong person sits on the Iron Throne in both instances. And in both instances, one of the first things that happens when the throne gets usurped is one of the main members of the Kingsguard, Barristan Selmy, I think is his name. Yep. Sir Barristan gets banished by Joffrey because he's like, you're old and you can no longer protect me, so I'm retiring you to like some island where you'll have whores and money. And Barristan's like, I made oaths to the Kingsguard, and you know that those oaths are for life, right? Like, I appreciate your grace that you're like giving me riches and a fucking island and a house and all this other nice things and whatever, but that's not how this works. Like, this is an oath until death do me part from you. Yep. And they basically tell him that you can no longer serve. So he takes off his cloak and throws it down angrily, just like that Gerald Hightower. I think that guy's name is Gerald something. He takes off his he takes off his cloak and throws it down in anger, and he leaves the room. And it just reminded me of Barristan. And I wonder if they're going to bring him back at some point to be counsel to Rhaenyra because he's on bad terms with the Greens. But that
it
was
would be interesting.
That was a cool little callback. But I also said when I brought up episode 9 how it was clear that Otto was on some fuck shit was episode 7. Again, the best episode of the season in my opinion. Episode 7 when Alicent has that, I don't even know what to call it, like the rage moment when she just snaps and says, "Bring me the eye of Lucerys Valerian" and all that crazy shit. When she loses her shit, after that, she's in a room by herself and her dad comes in and she's upset about how she behaved. So her dad is like, "How are you feeling?" And she's like, I feel terrible. Like, I feel terrible. I made a fool of myself. I made a fool. And he's like, "You actually showed me that you have what it takes to win this game."
Yep.
He's like, "This is a game." And that goes back to the Game of Thrones theme, which I love, because he said, "This is a game. And I think that you finally showed me that you have what it takes to beat them all."
Yeah, he was proud of her. He was proud of that moment because in his mind it was like, oh, she's ready. Like she's finally bore her fangs. Like she's ready to fight this war.
Episode 5, which is is the last episode before the time skip, or the main time skip, I should say, before the actors change. Episode 5, when he leaves, remember he gets banished actually because he accuses Rhaenyra of being sullied. He blatantly tells the king, "I think that your daughter has had sex," and obviously that's a huge deal. Viserys banishes him. When he leaves and it's raining and Alicent runs out, she's like, "I don't want you to go," and he's like, "Listen to me, Rhaenyra, or listen to me, Alicent. Rhaenyra's children are a fucking threat to you and our entire family. Like when she eventually and when he dies, when Viserys dies, you and your children are a threat to her claim. You have to understand that either you kill her now or deal with her now or backstab her now, or you beg for her mercy in the future," right? Like he's telling her straight up, this is what I think is going to happen. I think that despite the fact that he named her heir and that you two are quote unquote friends at the time, right? Like they're kind of friends, even though they had the falling out, but they were making peace at the time. They were trying to be nice and cordial to each other. And because she asked her, "Did you do anything?" And Rhaenyra's like, "No, I promise, I swear I didn't do anything." And she lied. Technically, she lied.
Well, she didn't. She did not fuck her uncle.
She didn't, but that wasn't the only question, right? Like it was like, "Did you do something with Daemon?" No. "Did you do anything?" No. It was like, okay, but you did actually have sex. But yeah, so they were starting to build their bond back up, and he obviously doesn't like that because he knows what it means. If Alicent actually becomes friendly with Rhaenyra and those two patch everything up, then literally it'll just be Rhaenyra sitting on the Iron Throne. Aegon will just be Aegon, and that will be the end of it. So he tells her.
That's the thing, though. Like I think that it's obviously things could go all these ways, but it's a bunch of old people trying to get things to go their way, and it's like if we were to just let bygones be bygones, I think that like without the old man influence, like we could have had like Rhaenyra and Alicent actually be friends. Alicent wouldn't have a claim to the throne. Her kids wouldn't be on the throne. But like, I don't think Rhaenyra is the kind of person. She's not going to go kill her.
I don't think so either.
You know what I mean? Like that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like these old people, like they wanted to put the pieces in motion, and they essentially kind of forced us into this position.
Yeah.
That like wasn't really going to happen.
That's exactly what's happening though, because Otto controls Alicent, and I think at one point they blatantly akin everything to chess. I think that's something. There's a part where she gets mad at him. It's episode 9. It's the Green Council episode. Episode 9. There's a part where they're both looking for Aegon. Remember, Aegon's missing, and now the king is dead. So they have to find Aegon to do a coronation in front of everybody to make him legitimate. And at one point, Otto wants to find Aegon, but Alicent is like, "No, I have Aegon." Right? Because I think she ends up winning. She sends out all these people. They both send out a whole crew to find Aegon, and she sends Kristen and Aemond, I believe. And he sends out those twins, and whoever finds him first basically like wins this little game. So the whole episode is finding Aegon and making him, but depending on who finds him depends on what really goes forward. So Alicent is like, "Listen, I have Aegon, and I'm not listening to you anymore. You have literally manipulated me my entire life, and I'm done with that." And he says, "Well, if I manipulated you, then I made you queen of the 7 kingdoms."
Yeah.
Because she said something like, "You moved me around like a chess piece," or something like that. And he said, "Well, if I did, then I made you queen of the 7 kingdoms." And I was like, damn, way to fucking gaslight your daughter
Yeah, super gaslighting. It's like, dog, what you did was fucked up. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you made me queen, but at it's like one of those things. Like, you made me queen, but you did it for yourself.
Yes.
Like, you want your name. Like, I remember, I don't remember exactly what episode it is when it gets revealed, but when they show the Targaryen banner,
Yeah.
and the Targaryen banner is black with the red dragon
Yep.
heads. When they show it, but it's green dragon heads, I was like, these fucking people are fucked up. Like, it's the Targaryen banner, but they made the dragons green. I
Yeah.
was like, dog, it's like so subtle, but it's like you know what they're doing.
Yeah. No, you're right
Like
though.
he's putting his mark. Like the High Tower's color is green. And like
Yeah.
he really wants his mark on the fucking throne in history. And it goes another one of my favorite characters was Corlys. It goes back to him and something that I respected about him and something I thought was like I don't know, something I thought was cool about his character was when he like knew that his grandkids weren't his, and he was like, history remembers names.
Yep.
Like,
It does
and
remember blood
Otto's
everything.
on the same shit. Like Otto's like, I'm changing shit. Like I
Yeah.
want the High Towers on the throne.
Yeah, Otto was wild, and it became very clear to me by the end of the show that he is truly an antagonist. Because I basically consider the Greens to be evil, actually, because of their methods to usurp the throne were actually just strong arming it.
Yeah.
I think it's also clear to me that it didn't matter what Viserys said before he died, right? Like that whole
Yeah,
dream,
I
like
mean, they went through like the realm took
yes,
these oaths, like to
yes,
Rhaenyra.
yes,
The
yes,
realm took these oaths, and he went, locked down the entire city, and then put everybody on their fucking knees, basically, and was like, either renounce the oath you made to the king and his
yes,
heir,
yes.
or we're gonna just throw you in fucking prison indefinitely and possibly just kill you and torture to
And
death.
they
Like,
actually killed all of the people who did know because they burned it. There was a scene in that episode where they burned some house down because
yeah,
one of the server ladies, like she knew she was the one who reported because a little boy found out. The little boy went and whispered to one of the servers in the kitchen, and then the server told Allison and Otto and all of those people. So they have their little scheme meeting, and after that, they're like, "Who knows?" And I think Allison says the only person who knows is the little boy, obviously, and also Talia or something like that, like her hand miss, her, whatever she is, her server.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the next scene is like that fucking house that all of the servers live in because they have their own little quarters. That shit's on fire. So it was just a wild, like they do some really fuck shit. Not to say that like the blacks don't also. It's funny that I have to call them the blacks, but the blacks also do some fuck shit because again, that scene with Rhaenys. Rhaenys is actually one of my favorite characters. I actually really like her. She
Yeah,
has
dude.
she has
She's
a
fucking
sort of
awesome.
yes, she's really fucking awesome. She has a sort of Olenna Tyrell feeling to her where
Yeah.
she doesn't speak often, but when she does speak, she usually has a really good thing to say.
She's very poignant and
Yes.
she has that like that old lady energy that's like strong, like that dope old lady energy.
Yes. Yeah, like
And
it's definitely a strong
she's
it's
very
a
wise, like
yes. So I love her character, and the only blunder that they had the entire season, I think, was episode 9, where she just kind of like killed a bunch of people for no reason because she didn't have to burst through the ceiling like that. She could have just took her dragon and left if that was her goal. Like honestly, if the because in episode 10 she says the reason why I didn't kill them is because it's not my war. So if you truly believe that though, then why would you kill hundreds of people for no reason and then just have your dragon yell at them, but you're not going to do anything? It's kind of just that was just
I
kind
think
of
she
pointless.
I think she wanted to still make a statement. Like she wanted because like they tried to hold her hostage and imprison her,
Yeah,
and she like symbolically was like because she literally broke out of being a
yeah,
hostage thanks to like some help. But I think it was like her making a statement, like you motherfuckers tried to like keep me hostage, like lock
yeah,
me up.
yeah. I really just that scene for me. I was so annoyed because I was like, okay, that was dope as fuck. Like the scene itself is dope. The actual like Melee's her dragon, the way it has those 6 spikes on the side of its head. Can we just talk about the fact that all the dragons look completely different? I love that.
I love, 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 love the dragon design. I'm so happy that they all don't look like
Drogon.
a Drogon and shit. And like Drogon looks awesome, but
Drogon does.
in Game of Thrones, like those three dragons look very similar.
They're
They're
just the
different
different
colors.
colors. That's all. That's
Yeah,
it.
but for the most part, they look very similar.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's like factual from the books because like they're all related and they come from like possibly the same group of eggs, or if it was just like the budget at the time when they made
Yeah.
those seasons of Game of Thrones, like they didn't have the budget to create these drastically different looking dragons. I don't
Right.
really know. Regardless, in House of the Dragon, all of the dragons have their own energy to them, and they just have their own looks and like features, and
Yeah,
it
it's the
really gives
features
them
for
this
me.
personality. Yeah, it's really cool.
I think Caraxes, which is Damon's dragon, the long neck, they call him the bloodworm. I
Yeah,
think Caraxes looks fucking dope as hell.
he's awesome, man.
When he first appears in episode, so when does Damon steal the egg? It's episode 2, I think. Episode 2, I believe, is the bridge scene. It is. So episode 2, Damon steals a dragon egg. And there's this amazing scene with the bridge at Dragonstone where Otto comes to get the egg back, right? And at one point, Otto is like talking crazy shit to Damon. And as Damon gets angry, you just hear the sound of Caraxes in the background. And as he starts crawling up, and you hear the fucking loud thundering sound of his footsteps. And then he makes this ridiculous, crazy, like yelping scream sound that he does that only his dragon does. Only that dragon makes that sound. It is so fucking cool.
He's all I want to see. I so bad at least once before when all of this is over. I need him to do like a stealth water kill, like because he looks so amphibious. Like he looks like he's the out of all the dragons, he's the best swimmer. Like, and I need him to be like. I need him to be like swimming underground, under the water, and like at some point, like
just
you see a shadow. Yeah, you see like maybe a shadow getting bigger in the water, and like, what the fuck is that? And then it's like, and then he just fucking
that would be
like,
so dope.
Dog, I want to see that so bad.
That would be so fucking dope. I love Caraxes' design. Otto reaction to that is still goated to me. Sheath your fucking steel.
Yeah. He was like, yo, we are gonna die today. Yes. Like, relax.
What I will say about Otto, though, is that he actually isn't as much of a coward as you might think, because the way he talked to Damon, the way he spoke to Damon on that bridge.
Oh, he has balls.
Oh, if nothing else, he got the fucking audacity.
Yeah.
Because the way he was talking to Damon, it was actually so disrespectful. It was so disrespectful. Like, I don't even want to fuck up the quotes and stuff, but the things he said to Damon in episode 2 on that bridge were he said, "You're a whore." He was kept calling Masseria, the girl that's with Damon. He was like, "Listen, you have your fucking whore and all sort of bullshit. And at the end of the day, right, like, you're gonna give me that fucking egg, and I'm gonna take it back to your brother."
Yeah, Otto has Tywin energy. Like, he feels similar to, now I like Tywin more.
Oh, way more.
But he does have Tywin energy. Like he's an old man, and it's like he has power, and it's not that he is a strong warrior, because I don't believe that Tywin or Otto are that skilled with the sword.
Right.
But it's that they have the resources and the cunning and just the intelligence to win wars or battles or engages.
They're just smart people. They're very intelligent people. They see things for what they are. They also know when you have to act. I will give them that. Like Otto, despite the fact that what he did is fucked up by usurping the throne, while the king literally is a fresh dead corpse. Like, literally didn't waste any time. The king literally just shit himself, and you are already plotting to take the throne. It's the same thing that Tywin would do. Like, Tywin would do that.
Yep.
So I get it. They are very similar. And they also have their differences, which is something that we could talk about in another episode, of just like comparing the characters from House of the Dragon to their counterparts. Because it's clear that there are some very clear through lines between some of the characters in House of the Dragon into characters in Game of Thrones.
It's something I like, is that they give us a little bit of both. There's, on one end, there are characters that feel like, oh, this is like a through line to original Game of Thrones.
Yep.
But then also, I think we talked about this in the last episode, they're not going to go out of their way to make every character, like, there's not a Tyrion, and there doesn't need to
Tyrion. Be. Yep, exactly. That's a good example. Also, so Larys Strong, he is a combination of Lord Varys, because he is the Master of Whispers, right? So you have your Varys character, but he's also Littlefinger too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because if you combine Littlefinger,
he's a fucking pervert like Littlefinger too.
He is. But I love the names that George R. R. Martin used for these characters, because Larys' name is a combination of Littlefinger, L, and Varys, so you get Larys. I think that's just I think that's so brilliant. The Aemon and Daemon thing is brilliant to me as well. I love that he does that, so that it's not, we don't have to guess. Like, we don't have to guess, like, oh, who is this character? Like, no, it's blatantly, I want you to know Aemon is a younger Daemon. I want you to know that Larys is a combination. He's probably more dangerous than Littlefinger and Varys, because he's both at once.
Yeah, because he's fucked up.
Because what he has is, So Varys was the master whispers, but that was all he was. And Littlefinger was like a master manipulator, and that's pretty much all he was. Whereas you have this guy, Larys is both. He's actually both at the same time. Anyways,
he's dangerous.
He's very, very dangerous. I want to talk about Alicent because I think that she also has a lot of layers and that she's a complicated character and that she deserves.
Real quick, I'm sorry. I just realized not nowhere near as cool. Nowhere near as cool. Doesn't have the energy. Does not have the swagger. But he's on some Doflamingo shit because because Larys kills his brother and his dad. And spoilers for One Piece. But Doflamingo kills his brother and his dad. Doflamingo is just like fucked up.
Guess I forgot that detail because it's been a while. Like obviously it's probably been like literally 7 years plus since I remember that. But I forgot that Doflamingo was on some crazy shit like
Doflamingo is like he's cold. Like he's a cold motherfucker. Like he was like a kid when he killed his dad. And then like years later he ends up killing his brother. And I don't know why I just thought of that. Yeah, I'm a huge One Piece nerd.
Well, but there's a reason why you thought of it. He literally Larys
he does do the same thing. He's not as cool as Dofi, obviously.
No, but Dofi's so cool. Yeah, but this is House of the Dragon. So Alicent Hightower is a really cool character that I think deserves a lot more than just, oh, I fucking hate the character, because she is a character that you grow to hate over time, right? Like I think that go ahead, did you want to say something?
No, I agree with you. I personally don't hate her. I understand the circumstance that and like the awkwardness of the show and like there's shit that she does that I hate that fucking infuriates me, and I'm like, how the hell are we letting her get away with this? But I understand the position she's in. Like she, without literally being done officially, like she was essentially like sold as a sex slave.
Yeah,
like without
100%. She was pimped.
Without it being like she was just pimped out like for the benefit of her dad and like all this other shit and like the line.
We get to see
she was put through some shit.
We get to see how pimped she was because the episode 4, what I love about it, and I didn't know that we were going to get one of these scenes, and I honestly could have done without it. But episode 4 was the scene, the episode all about sex. And as Rhaenyra is literally living her city girl fantasy, getting that shit popping in the streets with men that are attractive and beautiful, and her uncle.
This is one of my favorite sequence of scenes. I don't know if you want to call it one, because like the scene switches, but it's like all one scene, so to speak. But this is one of my favorite sequences, what you're talking about right now.
Yes. So as Rhaenyra is having a fantastic time exploring her sexuality, you get to find out exactly how Alicent is doing with the king, because they clearly do have sex, right? They have children. They switch over in the middle of this montage and they show Alicent gets called at a ridiculous time of night. And I think she even says, like, it's this hour. What the fuck? The girl comes and says, the king wants to see you. And it's like really late. And she says, it's this hour.
Yeah. And she's like, the king wants to see you. Like, she just like says it again.
Yes. Like, just doesn't give a fuck. And we kind of knew what it meant, but we were hoping maybe it was something else. But then they just randomly switch again later on in this montage. And you see Viserys with his actual decaying back. Like, his actual decaying back. You see him pumping on Alicent. I don't know what else for it to be.
And she's just sitting there like a sex doll. Like she's not enjoying it. And it doesn't feel good for her. Like she's not in the mood. Like you can tell there was no foreplay. Like there was nothing. Like she is just a fucking hole for him to come in. And it's like disgusting and it's really like bad. Graphic. But
she's looking at the ceiling the whole time and he's just doing his thing. And then honestly, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but if I didn't, because I have a lot of conversations about this show, but I remember at the time when I saw that, I said, this kind of feels rapey to me. Like,
100%.
Yeah, like I just feel, because it's all about, like, you know, rape means that the person didn't consent at the end of the day. And I just feel like she would not actually consent to having sex with him because of...
It's one of those things where it's like, whether or not you consent, but also she's not even in a position.
Yes, that's the key word.
Yeah, like she can't consent or not consent. Like she doesn't have a choice.
Right.
And so you can tell. Now that said, all of the wives in that time don't really have a choice, right? But they may, like for example, Rhaenyra, like she obviously, when she goes to have sex, she enjoy. The point that I'm getting to is that if she looked like she was enjoying it and stuff like that, and like having fun or like looked excited about it, then it'd be like, okay, like regardless, because like it's still her consent still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like to that world, but it'd be like, okay, this doesn't feel rapey because like this. But in this instance, it's like she 100% does not want to be there. She does not want to be having sex right now, but she doesn't have a choice in the matter. And it's
Literally
like,
no choice. And so it
it's
feels rapey
just
to me.
really, yeah.
And I think we were supposed to get that feeling from it too, that it one wasn't her choice because Rhaenyra is making a choice at the same time. So they wanted to show it's like a cool parallel between their lives. At one point, I think Rhaenyra and Alicent have a conversation after this episode where they talk in the gardens. They're like on a bench, and Rhaenyra said, "I don't want my life to just be a baby making machine, essentially, holed up in a castle all day."
Mm-hmm.
And when she says that, the conversation gets super awkward because she just described Alicent's actual life. And Alicent kind of gets quiet at that. Well, not kind of. She does get quiet at that moment. She kind of looks down like, fuck.
Yeah, Allison's life is like she's the queen. Like, for example, talking about Otto again, like how he gaslit his daughter, like, I made you queen of the Seven Kingdoms. It's like I may be queen, but all I am is the most well-dressed like slave, basically. Like
Yes. Sex
I'm the
slave at that.
queen, but I'm just like in a big I'm like confined to this castle. I can't do anything that I want. My will isn't my own. Like I'm just a pawn for all these other men around me.
Yep.
My father and my king slash husband. Like
Yep. It's a sad existence that she has, and Rhaenyra calls it out accidentally, and then she realizes like, fuck, I just described your life. Like you are a prisoner who's just meant to make babies. That's all you really are. You have no actual power. You have no actual say so in what your life is.
there's no
You
agency.
There's
No
no agency to
agency.
you. It's terrible. So Rhaenyra has, and then here's the reason why I don't like Alicent, because I can't just say, oh, I hate a character and not give you guys reason, because that's just not who I am, and I just would not be as a podcaster, as a content creator. I just feel like that's just lazy. Just be like, I don't like this character, and I don't really need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
explain why. So the reasons why that I do not like Alicent is I actually have a legitimate, or what I feel like is legitimate reason to not like her, and to honestly, I despise her. Uh, the overarching word to use here is that she's a hater. And what I mean by that is she literally doesn't like Rhaenyra just because Rhaenyra has all the freedom that she never had. And
Yeah.
and this goes back to that same episode where she asked Rhaenyra, did you do all of these things? Rhaenyra does lie by omission, right? Okay, Rhaenyra lies to you, whatever. You guys all already had a falling out. You also didn't tell me that you were sleeping with my father or planning to sleep with my father or like cozying up to my father. You didn't tell me that either. That was a shock to Rhaenyra when she found out that he would be marrying her best friend. So like y'all both have lied by omission to each other, right? Because you didn't tell me that you were getting close to my father, and I didn't tell you that I did actually have sex and I've done things and stuff like that. So that's fine, right? You guys are on an even playing field with the lying by omission thing. But where it gets fucked up to me is episode 5. This is also the last episode with the young actors. Episode 5 with the whole Kristen thing, where Kristen kind of spills the beans.
Yeah.
And Alicent gets like she gets mad, like super mad, to the point where she makes it her mission to basically make Rhaenyra's life a living hell because Rhaenyra lied to her and that she actually had sex. And I just think it's a bit ridiculous that you are so angry at me because I literally had sex. Now I get it. Rhaenyra got her father banished, but your father's also a fucking cunt. Just like David
Yeah.
said. Like your father was not in the right either.
Yeah. And the other thing about Allison is, like you said, she's a hater. And something that's interesting, and this goes to real life too. Um, keep do accounting on like the company you keep, because sometimes the company you keep will have a certain energy
Yes.
that'll almost force you into keeping an opinion that might not like. So what I'm getting to
Ooh,
is
this
like
is good.
the company she keeps right now, like one of her like top guys is Kristen Cole, and Kristen Cole also hates Rhaenyra.
Yes.
And so they both are toxic, and they both toxically hate Rhaenyra together.
Yep.
And there's no room for growth because they get to talk, like they get to soundboard off each other and echo chamber each other. Like, I hate Rhaenyra and I hate Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And it's like it creates this toxic circle
Yep,
energy
yep.
where if they didn't have each other to like spread this mutual toxicity with, it's possible that time would have healed those wounds.
100%.
Gotten over it, but they kept that toxicity going, and they
Yeah.
like brewed that fucking
And then
pot,
instead
and
it just
continues
makes
to
it
fester.
it proliferates it. Yeah. So that's the first thing, is that she's a hater, but I can go a little deeper. Episode 6 for me, which I think was the weakest episode of the season. So this is the big time. This is the 10-year time skip episode. It's the episode I just do not like, honestly. 10-year time skip. The opening scene is literally Rhaenyra's having a actual fucking child. And the second the baby is born,
Oh my god.
A fucking handmaiden comes in and says she's requested to see the child. And Rhaenyra's like, already? And she's like, yeah, she wants to see the child right now. And Rhaenyra gets up after literally just delivering this child. I mean, literally, guys.
This is what Rhaenyra's a boss bitch.
She's a
yo.
beast.
She's a boss. Like, she just got done giving birth, and she's like, I will walk and see this bitch. Like, I will look her in the fucking eye.
Yep.
Like, I'll go there myself.
Yep. It's crazy. But yes, Alicent requests the second the child is born, bring it to me, which, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to have the authority on my child as soon as it's born? I'm the heir to the Iron Throne. For all intents and purposes, I am the most powerful person next to my father in the entire world. So, like, who the fuck are you to say you want to see my child the second it's born? And also, the reason why you want to see my child is to show that my child isn't legitimate, which is, again, none of your fucking business, because my father knows that. My father is willfully ignorant. And everyone knows that my father's willfully ignorant. Everyone knows that my damn baby is just a white baby and isn't actually Laenor Valerian's. That's not a secret. You're not some fucking genius because all three of my kids are actually just completely white kids. That's not some great reveal. So
With
you
brown hair.
Yeah, like she shows the baby to the king, doesn't she? Doesn't Alicent say, or she says something like, the baby looks exactly like, the last two, just pale as hell with brown hair. And
yeah, and the king's just like, this is my grandkid. Like, no matter who the father is, it came out of my daughter's belly. And
he gives his bullshit story, which is so funny, about the horses that he had as a child.
Yeah.
He's like, I had a brown horse and a silver horse, and they had sex and they made a black horse. And it's like, all right, dog, like, at the end of the day, like, come on, your daughter gets around or whatever. But yes, I love the fact that the show does make it obvious that Viserys knows what's up. He's not dumb. He's willfully ignorant is what it is. And Alicent just keeps on doing this thing. She has this like vendetta against Rhaenyra's honor, or against Rhaenyra as a character, because she just despises the fact that Rhaenyra is free to choose who she wants. And it's found out that Rhaenyra has an agreement with Laenor that they can do what they want. This is also something that Alicent doesn't have in her own situation, right? She has no freedom to choose a younger man than Viserys that she actually likes and loves. Her whole life is just duty, duty, duty. She gets no freedom to do anything. Her dad has controlled her whole childhood, and Viserys controls her whole adulthood. And that's just her life. And she sees Rhaenyra, who literally has her cake and eats it too. And it just drives her crazy, like actually crazy. It actually drives her mad. And episode 7 was the point where you get to see her actually driven mad. Like in that room, when she said, bring me the eye of Lucerys Valerian, when I tell you that there's nothing that this character will ever do for me that will redeem her. She is a Cersei level character, right? But like Cersei, I can genuinely empathize with Cersei. After this whole show played out, I'm like, okay, I get why. Every time I look at the show again, I'm like, I get it. Your husband literally beat on you and whored out and came in drunk every night, sometimes fucks whores in front of you, treated you awful. Like he treated you absolutely awful, punched you in front of Ned in the actual show and everything. Told you I'll do it again if you keep talking. Your husband was genuinely awful. And so I get like her complete hatred, because Rob Baratheon was not Rob. Is that his name? Yeah, Robert Baratheon was terrible.
Yeah.
So I get it. But Alicent is just like, you don't actually have to hate Rhaenyra. The people you should hate, you're directing your anger at the wrong person.
Yeah, the people that, honestly, the person that's done the most damage to her life is her dad, the person that gave her the most power and put her in the best position. He did the most damage to her life. Like, she had a beautiful friendship with Rhaenyra, like, all this stuff. Like, they were best friends, and her dad, for his own selfish gains, positioned her into a spot where it would cause a schism in their friendship, and then that continued to grow. But it was all at the cost of, like, it was all at basically the behest of Otto. Like, Otto was the one that put his daughter in this position and continued to keep her in this position and take away her agency and just take away her freedom to be a fucking person in the world.
Your resentment is really your father. And she instead turns all of her ire, for the most part, to Rhaenyra. And I just cannot deal with that. She's also complicit in things when I think that she really should have put her foot down and be like, absolutely not. Like, I'm the queen and we're just not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
She lets things go on further than they should. And it just really bothers me that she half-asses things. Like, oh, in one instance, like you're putting your foot down, but in another instance, you just let things go because they do low-key benefit you. And the best example is when she talks to Rhaenys, because I love having receipts. So when they lock up Rhaenys in episode 9, the Green Council is the name of the episode, one of the best. Episode 9, they lock up Rhaenys, and at some point, Alicent goes to visit Rhaenys, and it gets to a point in the conversation, just to summarize, it gets to a point where Rhaenys says, you don't actually want to escape your prison. You want to build a fucking window out of it. Like, you are actually going along with what the men are doing. Because at one point, it seemed like Alicent was putting her foot down, right? And that's kind of what I'm saying about her, is that she doesn't do it when it's convenient. Like, she's still aware enough to know they're usurping the throne right now. You're imprisoning me right now, and you could do something about it. But you're pretending like, oh, woe is me. I'm such a prisoner. But at the same time, you're not doing anything to get out of this prison. You don't actually want to escape it. You're actually fine with the prison. You're putting yourself in it, and you just want to build a window. As long as you could just see a little better, you're good with that. And so Rhaenys calls her out about it and says like, oh shit, you actually have no agency to get out of this. You low-key, without realizing it, maybe subconsciously, you low-key like it. And that's what she says, like, you just want to build a window. You don't actually want to get out of it. And I think that's actually true to Alicent's character. You could do things to better your situation. Instead, you choose to let the men continuously control you, even up to episode 9. And yeah, it's just really good. The show is really well written, and Alicent's character is layered. What I do like about her, though, because while I do hate the character, and that's good that they got me to hate the character, I think that she's necessary because she adds this whole thing about she truly believes Viserys wanted Aegon to be king.
Yeah.
It's a misunderstanding, but she's not all the way wrong in wanting her son on the Iron Throne with the belief that Aegon should be that because Viserys said it. She's not completely like, oh, I just want my son on the Iron Throne for power. I want my son on the Iron Throne because it'll better my position, or that I'm scared that Rhaenyra will actually kill all of us. It's not that. She genuinely has a real reason, from a misunderstanding though, but she has a real reason why she believes it. So it's not as cut and dry as like, well, she's just a psycho. Like,
It adds a lot of nuance to the characters and the writing. It's something that's, at the end of the day, no matter what you want to call it, whether or not you want to pretend you're above it, what makes so many shows good is like the drama.
Yep.
At the end of the day, there needs to be to be drama, and the stakes and everything comes down to like the drama of what's happening. Like we're all like suckers for it. It's what makes things really fucking interesting when we're watching these shows. If it was literally just 7 intelligent people just pontificating all day, like it wouldn't be interesting, right? It's like it's the things that you go like, oh my god, this could just all work if you guys would do this, and it's like it's so simple that you guys could solve these problems, and it's like because of all these other reasons they can't or they won't. And
can I interject real quick? I just want to say
go ahead.
Oh, Game of Thrones season 2, the War of the Five Kings. If Renly and Stannis, if they join up, right? If they just join up at any point, they're brothers, mind you, they're blood brothers. If at any point those two join their armies instead of fighting each other, they literally stomp the Lannisters. They hard stomp the Lannisters season 2, and none of this bullshit happens. But instead, like Kenny's saying, and this is why I wanted to interject, because he's saying it like exactly as it was too. If these characters could just like figure out a way to get past their drama, they would actually succeed. But because drama makes things so good, it's like, god damn it, if y'all just came together. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, you're right though. You're 100% right.
I mean, that's what it is though. Like all of that is like what makes it so meaty. So it's like it feels like there's so many opportunities for Alicent to like get past this fucking drama.
Yeah.
But like if she did, there wouldn't be a show.
Yes,
and that's what makes it what it is. And it's like, and it's also important, and this is a key there's a lot of differences between good and bad writing. But I think one of the key differences on something being good and bad writing is how believable and understandable the drama is. And a lot of like bad shows or movies, there's drama for the sake of drama, and it's like you go, well, this could easily be fixed, and it's not even contrived. It's like you just for whatever reason are brain dead in this one conversation, and like it's how the writer handles the drama and the writing of it and the execution of it. It really separates whether or not, because in the instance of Game of Thrones, there's conversations that we know could happen and compromises that could happen that could fix everything. But the stakes of the show and the characters, it makes it very difficult for us to get there. Whereas like other like more bad shows, it's like, well, this could easily happen. There's no reason why it couldn't. It's just simply not happening because of plot convenience.
Yes.
Like plot convenience that makes it so
Yep.
this shitty drama exists.
I agree with you 100%. And before we move from Allison, I want to say, because there's one scene that she has in this show that I think is amazing. It was a jaw-dropping scene for me. It's episode 5 again. It's the episode where I think Rhaenyra is supposed to marry Laenor, and everyone is toasting and celebrating those two, their betrothal or whatever. And I think the king is about to give a speech. And so as he's doing it, they're wondering where Allison is the whole episode. They're kind of like, where is she?
Oh man, yeah.
And it gets quiet and the doors open to the Great Hall. And you see her with a green dress on. And she starts, oh my God. It's completely silent. Viserys stopped his speech. Everyone turned their attention to the door. Allison walks in and they play this amazing song. But on top of that, as she's walking, everyone's turning their head. And then you hear Larys Strong talking to his older brother. And they're talking about how, do you know what color the High Tower's banners is or something? Or what color Old Town burns when they are going to war?
Yep.
And he's like, green. And he says, exactly. And then you see they go back to the green dress. And she walks up on the dais and she says, pleased to see you, stepdaughter. And the way she looks at Rhaenyra, though, because she just found out that Rhaenyra lied. She just, like, right before that.
Yeah, it's just right after the Kristen Cole conversation.
Yes. So she knows that Rhaenyra, like, lied by omission to her. And she knows that Rhaenyra got her father banished in the same episode, basically because of a whole drama between that. So when she looks at Rhaenyra, the look is so fucking crazed and psycho because her eyes are, like, stretched to the max. Like, the actress did a great job, by the way. The young Alicent did a fucking fantastic job in that scene of just speaking with her face, because she says, pleased to see you, granddaughter. Congratulations on your betrothal. And like the way she says it though, even Rhaenyra, they kind of show Rhaenyra's face and she's like, what the fuck is up with this bitch?
This bitch is all one. Yeah, dude.
That scene was
Excuse
wild.
me. I just yawned. But no, man, when I mean, you already said everything about it. That scene. It was so good. The green dress, like it felt, because you could feel, I mean, they explain it, but like you can feel it, and you just watch the conversation with Kristen, and it's like, oh, this bitch is like, she's all the way in right now.
Yeah.
Like she's ready.
She's ready, because at the time she seemed so helpless, right? That's kind of what her character was up until that point. You thought that she was just going to take it lying down. You watched her basically in episode 4 having sex with Viserys. Rhaenyra made the comment about just being a person locked up in a tower having babies. And so the whole season up until that point was Alicent is just helpless. And then that whole thing about what color they burn when they go to war was like, oh shit, she's actually battle ready now. Yeah. So that was a really, really, really well done scene. I love that scene. I watch that scene whenever I think about House of the Dragon. Anyways, so let's move on. Viserys. We talked about him a bit, of course, in this episode, but also in our first review of the season. But the thing I want to talk about here with his character is he had a line that I loved. He gets into a heated argument with young Rhaenyra. I think it's like episode 3 or something, when Aegon II has a birthday. I think it is that episode, because they have a really big falling out that whole episode. That whole episode is those two bumping heads. And at the end of the episode, he says to her, I will never supplant you. Right? He tells, because she's scared. She said, well, you got your fucking son now. So, you don't have a use for me anymore. And she's been worried the entire episode, because episode 3 is just her rebelling. She goes out into the forest and Kristen follows her. She like literally rides off on a horse. And Kristen follows her. And they have a whole day where they just go away from Aegon's birthday. They don't celebrate his birthday at all. And when she finally does get to talk to her dad at the end of the episode, he realizes like, oh shit, you thought that now I have a son, therefore he's going to be the heir and I no longer need you. But he tells her in that room, and this stays consistent the entire fucking season, and I love it. He tells her, I had no plans on making him my heir or supplanting you. I never intend to do that, and I never will. And throughout the season, there's multiple instances where people try to make him name Aegon, and he never does it. And then episode 8, when he dies, right? The scene where he walks in, I mean, again, one of the greatest scenes in all of Game of Thrones history. The scene where he walks in and says, I will sit the Iron Throne this day. Rhaenyra cries to him in his bed while he's dying the night before. And she says, help me. I need you right now. And it's so emotional. Like her dad is literally dying. He's wheezing really bad. He needs his milk of the poppy, I think is the way it ends. Like he's literally screaming for the milk of the poppy. And she's talking to him. He doesn't even really hear her, to be honest. And she's pleading with him. It's thundering outside. And she says, I need you right now, because she understands that tomorrow there's going to be a trial, but it's a mock trial. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
The trial was already set up in a way where she's going to lose. Her son will be named whatever they were going to steal Driftmark from her son. And she knew it was going to go down like that. She knew that there was some plan in place and that there was nothing that she could do about it, because technically Otto Hightower, while the king is in his state, he gets to be acting king.
And so yeah, he gets to do some shady shit. This is another instance of Otto where it's like, while the king was alive, he got to like be shady and like nudge the king in his direction, but still give him good advice that doesn't always benefit himself. But when the king was like sort of crippled and couldn't attend everything, Otto just got to do whatever he wanted, and he was just like, well, now I'm going to just make everything benefit me.
Yes. What he was doing was evil, because he was basically saying that your children aren't legitimate. He was agreeing to it. Like that was, well, the guy was Corliss's younger brother. He called her out blatantly in that room, and Otto knew that was what the whole trial was going to be. It was going to be that guy saying what he said. Amazing scene too. Daemon slicing that guy's fucking head off, but saying he can keep his tongue. Amazing. Fucking that entire, again, that whole sequence from Viserys walking in and saying, "I will sit the Iron Throne today." Rhaenyra seeing her father come in when she needed him the most, and continuing to say that Rhaenyra's children are legitimate, and if anybody questions her children, I'll have your fucking head. I just love that at no point did he ever go back on his word and name Aegon or change his feelings towards his daughter. Throughout the entire season, all 8 episodes that he's in, he stays consistent with that. And to me, that's just such a, like, for what his character is, yes, his character does have his weaknesses. He's a softie. He lets Daemon do all this crazy shit, and Daemon gets to come back every time with impunity, mind you. And Otto gets to say crazy things to him, like marry your daughter to your son and all this snake shit. And he banishes Otto. Then he calls Otto back after he loses his hand to the king. He's a softie. I get it. But at the same time, I just love that one of the things that he rode hard for was his daughter.
He's a real one, and he sticks, whether or not, like, he's a softie. He has these bad things about him, like these weaknesses. I won't even say they're bad things, but he has weaknesses for a king. But he is loyal, and he's real, and he's honorable, like truly honorable.
Yeah.
And which is another theme of Game of Thrones, where if you're honorable, you're going to die, and there he is. But he's truly honorable, and it's something that you can really respect about him, because like he went against everything. And like, now granted, at the time, like, he felt like he had no other choice, but he made his daughter his heir. He shared his daughter like the secret of Aegon's vision, and all this other shit. But like, he stayed true to that and was like honored that, and like really grew to appreciate his daughter in the coming years. And so when all these other people were in his ear about like supplanting her, he was like he made this promise, and he's honoring that promise. And everybody just goes again. And it's like, it's so frustrating, because it's like all these fucking people are just like going against you and like doing this slimy shit against you. And they like, it's already set up. Like, everybody already pleaded to your daughter, and it's like, what are they really going to do? Like, the only reason why there's a civil war and like this contention happening is because there's people on the inside causing the contention. They all keep saying like, we have to do this, because if we really let a woman become king or queen, then like the other houses will rise up against us. But like, no, they won't. Like, they can't do anything. Look, you guys have 17 dragons. Like, at the end of the day, they can't do anything. The only way this goes bad is if the people with the dragons fight each other. And they're setting it, and that's what ends up happening. That's what they're setting up to happen. Said,
the drama is what makes it good. So that has to happen. I want to say this too. I think it's brilliant that he makes this episode 1 declaration that Rhaenyra is his heir, and then 20 years pass before he dies.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is that we spoke about it a couple times in this episode about everyone basically pledges their allegiance to Rhaenyra, right? They like agree that yes, she is the queen when you die. Everyone does it. But 20 years, he lives for 20 more actual years. So what ends up happening, and we get to see this episode 10, some of the people, actually a good amount of the people who did that, who took that oath, are dead, like flat out. Flat out dead. They said that there's a new Stark who's younger he's as young as one of Rhaenyra's sons at the time, she says. And then there is a new guy, a Baratheon guy, who apparently can't read, which I thought was hilarious in episode 10 when they bring the letter and he brings his maester out. He's like, read this shit because he literally cannot. I said, wait a second, Gary. I think this bitch can't read. He's like, I think you're right. I said, yeah, I don't think he can read. But the point is, 20 years pass. And so you're wondering, are all of these people actually going to go back on their oath? It's like, well, no, all of them don't need to. Because what really happens is that a lot
of them were born into the oath.
Some of them blatantly didn't take it. Like, I didn't take that fucking oath. So I thought that was really cool writing too, that like George R. R. Martin realizes the way to make this make sense is that not a bunch of people are going to break their oath, because not everyone's going to be a Walder Frey. You're not going to get everyone's not going to be Walder Frey. And I thought that was cool. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk about Aemon Targaryen, basically the mirror of Daemon. Aemon's character is really cool to me because he was teased as a kid for being afraid of dragons and just being, I guess, a coward. And it turns out that he actually has more courage than pretty much anyone, because he ends up getting the biggest dragon, Vhagar. And he does it essentially because of the trauma of his childhood. Like, people tease me for not having a dragon yet. I'm the only one. They make pig noises when pigs come out, like all types of fuck shit that they did to this kid. But that's normal also. Like I said that when I was younger, me and my cousins, we all teased each other. It's just kind of what you did. So when I'm watching Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon and seeing how the boys tease each other and shit like that, it's just funny to me that it's consistent that children are just like that. And really, it's the adults that take things more seriously than the kids do. Like we just do our thing, and it's the adults who get really upset about it. But really, the kids are just being kids. Like, I know kids are fucked up or whatever, but like, that it is what it is. And Aemon ends up getting Vhagar. He loses an eye for it. I love the scene where he says, it's worth it. I lost an eye, but I gained the dragon. Oh, such a good line. But then when they time skip 10 years and he's like 16 or whatever, I don't know how old he is, but whatever age he is, he's supposed to be young, but the actor's way too old to be young.
The actor is old. Like the actor looks fucking old. Like he's got a weathered face.
The actor looks like he's our age, like flat out.
Yeah.
At minimum our age. But yeah, the actor looks way older than he's supposed to be, but I believe he's supposed to be around like 17, 18 or something like that. And the scene that I love is when he says, nephews, have you come to train? Like, after he basically beats Kristen Cole in a fight. I thought that was crazy because we know Kristen is insane, but he literally beats him. And I was like, oh shit, he's going to be a problem. Like, he's going to be a real problem.
Oh yeah, he's nice with it. I want to know, I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I want to know in the last episode, he reveals what's under the eye patch, and he shows like he has like this sapphire in his eye socket.
Sapphire, yeah.
Is it a sapphire?
It is. It's in the book. It is like that in the book, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was exactly.
Yeah, because they're so fucking rich that they can afford to do that, I guess. But in the book, from what I understand, it's a sapphire, and I forget if he even has the eye patch in the book. I forget. But he has the eye patch in the show, and he reveals it in the last episode, which I thought was really cool because it is a blatant callback to the source material, and it looks creepy as hell. When he took that shit off, not only does it looks cool too, of course, because we're just, nerds, but like, also because he was mad. At the time that he said it, he was saying something crazy to his nephew, like, come over here so I can take your fucking eye out. Like, he said, you owe me a debt. And he looked terrified.
Which, by the way, going back on your word, like you said, you lost an eye but gained a dragon. All right.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yes, it was a fair trade. To you, it was a fair trade. But yeah, all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I want to take your fucking eyeball. And I think it's cool that it's unclear to us, or not really, but it's slightly unclear what his true intention was when he went after his nephew. Because on one hand, it's like, yeah, I think we did bring this up before. It's kind of like he was hazing him. Like, I just want to scare you. But yeah, and we kind of get that because after he kills his nephew, the look on his face is like, I fucked up.
Yeah, you could tell he didn't want to kill him. I do think it was basically because at the end of the day, regardless of how the actor looks, he's still a kid. At this point, he's a teenager, even an older teenager. But even teenagers still act like assholes. And he, regardless of where he is now, he still dealt with bullshit when he was younger. He was the butt of every joke. Everybody made fun of him, etc. So now that he's older, and not only now that he's older, now that he has the biggest dragon, and now that he's one of the best fighters, he's still resentful for a lot of things, and so
Yep.
he wants to now make fun of the people that made fun of him and poke fun of them and like
Yep.
haze them
I'm
and do
making you
mean
a
shit to
coward
them.
now. Like, look at you
Yeah,
running.
but he doesn't want to kill them,
Yeah.
and
And that's
unfortunately, he
clear to us.
ends up doing that. But yeah, I don't think his intention. I don't even think. I honestly don't even know if he was really going to take his eye out. I think he was going to like just fuck him up a little bit.
So that's what I was gonna say. Is kind of unclear. I can't tell because
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell if he genuinely was going to take the fucking nephew's eye, because that is a wild thing to do too. To cut somebody's eye out is insane. Like a
On
kid's
purpose, right? Because
yeah,
like when it happened to him, it wasn't necessarily on purpose. It was the heat of the moment.
right.
He was like, he had a brick and he's about to bash somebody's head in with a brick.
Yeah. And he
So
got
like,
slashed. Yeah, it's a wild thing to know what he was truly intending, but we know he didn't intend to kill his nephew. And it does add a level of complexity to his character now, because I always said, how is he going to return home? Is he going to return home like, look at what I did, right? To seem not weak? Or is he going to return home like, I fucked up? And they're going to, and Alice and Otto are going to say, listen, you did fuck up, air quotes here. However, it's a good thing that you did that. And we're going to play it like we did it on purpose.
yeah,
Like,
you can't, even if you did say it was saying it was an accident does nothing but make you look weak. There's no way saying it was an accident ends up good for you, because Rhaenyra's not going to be like, oh, okay, it was an accident, my son's dead. Like,
right.
At this point, like, war is afoot. Like, this is happening.
Yes, I agree 100%. I don't think that it's going to matter what he says, but I am curious what he's going to say. I wonder if he's going to go back home and say, I fucking killed him. I did it on purpose to just seem machismo as hell. Or is he going to say, hey, mom, grandfather, I really made a blunder here. What do we do about it? I have no idea. And that's going to be interesting. Season 2 is going to be really interesting for that reason. I guess, so there's a couple others like smaller characters. Mysaria, her character's really cool, I think, because she kind of runs the underworld. And in episode 9, when they were looking for Aegon, she's like, I have Aegon, but I need you to make certain promises to me, Otto. And this is going to be, there was some foreshadowing there, because she threatens Otto. She says, at the end of the day, we really run this shit. And she said, don't forget that. And Otto said, I won't forget it. And the way he says it, like the way he says, I won't forget it, to me was him saying, I won't forget it to something else. Like, I won't forget that you threatened me.
Yeah. Like, he'll come back and change shit. Like,
yes. Because all she wanted was, I don't like the way Flea Bottom handles children, period. That's all she was saying. Like, I do not like that your men and that the Gold Cloaks and the City Watch and all these people, they turn a blind eye or are blatantly complicit in what's happening with children in Flea Bottom. I do not fuck with that. I don't like that.
They have like a gladiator pit.
They have a gladiator pit where so it's more, if it wasn't clear in the actual show, in the novel, in the book or whatever, the kids' teeth and nails are sharpened on purpose to make them more ferocious in these fights, these fucking cockfights or whatever, cockfights, and not cockfights, Jesus. But in these human cockfights, the children have their teeth sharpened and their nails sharpened so that they're more deadly, and they fight to the death. And that's obviously not all the children are used for. We already know from Game of Thrones, you can go and buy children for sex work, which is wild as fuck. And so Mysaria is like, I don't like this shit, and I don't like that your men kind of are allowing it to happen or literally taking bribes and all that stuff. So I want you guys to change that. And we already know from Game of Thrones that shit is still happening. So to me,
younger,
too old. So
too old. That's what he says. Too old.
Yes. So to me,
he was like fucking Goldilocks, just right. Like,
after they bring him an actual 10-year-old or whatever, yeah, disgusting. So to me, it's like, we know, spoiler alert, Game of Thrones shows you that the children stuff is still going on.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gross, but I assume that Mysaria is going to get backstabbed or double-crossed by Otto. He's not going to uphold his promise. Maybe he'll just literally forget and it won't even come up again, and it'll just be like, oh, okay, nothing came of this, because technically he could just go about living his life and nothing will come of it, and that's fine too. Or it'll be an actual scene where he kind of puts down a revolt maybe or something, like with force. I can see that happening too, but we'll see. That's just an interesting.
There's a lot that could happen. They could fix a portion of it, but then like not actually fix it all, and then like there's still shit happening. Like there's a lot that happen. I'm interested. They're definitely going to do more with this character, that one girl, because she's kind of like her own little master of whisperers.
She is.
She has spies and little birds and all that other
She's
shit.
basically on Rhaenyra slash Daemon's side, which I think is cool. They have their own, like you said, master whispers going on. They really have like an ear into King's Landing because they're not there, but they have her and she can kind of get information, to and from, which is dope. Corlys Valerian is a cool character too. I like the quote that you brought up earlier where he says, "History books don't remember blood; it remembers names." I think that's cool as shit that he knows also that his grandchildren are not actually of his blood. When his wife brings it up, she's like, "Listen, you know that they're not. You know your son is gay, even though you pretend like you don't." Talking about he's just going through a phase. Like, no, no, no.
He does say that.
Yeah, that shit is hilarious. But I do like that he is not willing to, feel any kind of way, like hardcore anyway, towards his actual or his not actual grandchildren. He still treats them like they're his
Yeah,
grandchildren.
he's still. It's something that it's like it's so crazy because like I think some people would be like he's a bitch, but I don't know. It's also super honorable. Like it's so interesting that like because at the end of the day, like you said, he knows his son is gay, and
Yeah. His
he
wife is
knows,
like, come on.
and like his son's married to Rhaenyra, and like basically these kids are his grandkids, regardless of whether or not they're actually blood related to his
Yes,
grandkids.
yes.
He actually legit loves them as if they were his blood relation grandkids because it's almost like he just understands. It's like if you adopt a kid or something. Like
Yes, yes. That's
it's like
exactly it. Adopt.
yeah, because like at the end of the day, like he gets it. Whether or not he wants to admit it, he gets it. His son's gay and like didn't produce any children. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
sure. I think they even say it, but I'm sure they tried.
Leonor does say it. He says that I know we tried and we were unsuccessful. Yeah. That is a blatant thing that is brought up that they did actually try. Which made them I love them so much. That scene that they have together right before she gives him his freedom. What's that, like episode 7 or something? I thought that was amazing where they have that conversation about like, listen, I know that you want to do what you want to do, and we did try, but I'm accepting. She's like, you're a good husband. Because he says, I know that I've been kind of absent. I've been doing my own thing. I haven't been the best, but he's like, now I'm going to do it. I'm going to really be there for you. I'm going to be the husband you need me to be. And she's like, at the end of the day, you were doing what is best for you, but I don't fault you for that. You actually are a great person. You're a great
Yeah,
person, Lenore. And I just thought that was so cool because Rhaenyra is very progressive. She's not like, you fucking maggot,
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's awesome. He ends up getting one of the best endings to his story.
yes.
Ever because
Probably
like
the best ending, honestly. He gets to run off with his lover, probably with a lot of gold, I imagine, and take on a new identity and live happily ever after. Like, he
yeah,
really
like
gets a good ending.
he legit gets he's one of the only live happily ever afters as far as we know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think he ever comes back in the story ever in any of the books. So it's to be assumed he really does get
Yeah.
his happily ever after,
Yeah.
which
It's really
is
cool.
nice. Like it's awesome.
I like Corliss, but also one of my favorite scenes, and I'm just going to bring it back up. It's when Viserys travels to try to get Rhaenyra to marry Laenor, essentially. So he travels by sea. Viserys hates the sea, and he gets there, and they have this really elaborate conversation. But the sum of the conversation ends up being Corliss asked when eventually they have a child, and that child will be the next in line to be king. What name will the child take? Will it be a Targaryen or Valerian? Because obviously, when Rhaenyra marries, Laenor, the children will take the dad's name, so they'll be Valerians. When they take the Iron Throne, though, will they be Valerians? And I love the look that Viserys gives him. He turns his head to the side. He says, "Surely, Lord Corlys, you don't think that the entire Targaryen dynasty is going to end simply because my daughter is a woman?" Like, you don't think that just because uh essentially women have to take the name or the children have to take the name of the father, that there will be no more Targaryens going forward in perpetuity. It'll just be Valerian. And I thought that was brilliant. And he says, the way it's going to actually work is when the children of Rhaenyra and Laenor take the Iron Throne, they will take the name Targaryen, but before that, they will just be Valerians.
Yeah,
And that's a great compromise.
yeah, he accepted that compromise. Like basically for their lives, like they are Valerians.
Yes.
But their time on the throne, they have to be Targaryens.
Yep.
But
Because it has
at
to
the
continue
same
the
time, it's
dynasty.
like the books will be written that like so and so Valarian became like the world, the history will know that he was a Valarian. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though he's also a Targaryen.
Exactly. Because Viserys could have said, no, all the children will be considered Targaryen.
Yeah.
And that would have just been decreed. So allowing the children to remain Valerians is actually really cool, because what it also means is that Corlys's family doesn't die out either. If you think about it, if the king said all of your children with Rhaenyra, all of your grandchildren with Rhaenyra are Targaryens, Driftmark passes to a Targaryen now.
Yeah.
So now your family actually ends there.
Because also, the only one that's going to change their name to Targaryen are the ones that take the throne.
Exactly.
The rest of your kids are still going to be Valarians.
Exactly.
So it is a good compromise.
It is. It's a great compromise, because otherwise it would be really bad if the king just said, actually, all of the children of them are going to be Targaryen, because technically any child could be the king. Like if the first one dies, it would just go to the second one. If he never has children, it would go to the second one. So technically, to be safe, he could have just said, nope, all of them are Targaryens, and that's what I'm decreeing. And actually, I'm glad you reminded me of this. Let me go make this decree tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like, I'm glad that you brought this up. I didn't think about that, but that's a good point. Let me go make sure that all 7 kingdoms, let me hold a feast and make sure I announce that when these 2 have children, they're all Targaryens. So now Driftmark and all of your fucking hard work passes to Targaryens. So it could have gone south for him. But Corlys is an interesting character, because even after all of the fuck shit that happened with his family throughout the season, when he comes to after his sickness and everything, he does support Rhaenyra. And he has every reason to actually hate her, because they are still under belief in this world that the reason Laenor is dead is because of her and Daemon.
Yep.
So for them to support Rhaenyra and Daemon as a couple is crazy, but like, I get that at the end of the day, they're fighting for the legitimacy of their grandchildren. That shows you how much Corlys really does love his grandchildren now.
Yeah. Even though like he knows they're most likely not his. It's like he has, I really respect that he, like, at the end of the day, like, these are his grandchildren, and he knows that, like, these are his, like, and he's always loved them. Like, you could tell there's like not many scenes, maybe there's only 1 or 2, but like when he's with his grandchildren, like, he really loves them. Like, he treats them like he's grandpa. Like, he really has like an affection and a love for them.
It's actually really
nice.
really cool. His character's dope. I really like his character. He's also a progressive character. And they used the word adopt earlier, and I think that's the perfect word. It's like they're adopted. And I assume, because I don't have any, but I assume that people who adopt children, they love those children as though they were their own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really dope. It's a really dope character. All right, well, let's wrap this one up, guys. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I do feel like we covered a lot of ground here. We pretty much talked about all the characters we didn't get to really touch on in our first review. And if you haven't heard the House of the Dragon season 1 review that we already did, please go back and check that episode out, because that episode is also really well done, I think. And
this episode doesn't spoil that episode, so to speak, because like the topics we covered in the first one aren't necessarily, like, there was a little bit of overlap, but we covered, the reason why there's 2 parts of this is because we covered things that we didn't get to in the other one.
Exactly. So this episode was more of a character deep dive for the most part. Like, we have like a list of characters that we really didn't touch on in episode 1, and we just kind of talked about all of them in this one. So they are very different in the way the episodes are structured. Anywho, before we get out of here though, we have currently 44 patrons on our Patreon. Very appreciative of that going into the new year, 2023, that in the last 30 days, actually less than 30 days, we've gotten 10 new patrons in the less than 30 days. 10 new people, which is fucking crazy. So shout out to everybody who's been supporting the IMNerd podcast. That shit goes hard.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so blown away by that. And I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed exclusive content. I saw that Kenny recently put up like every single episode as video that we've ever recorded by this point. So literally everything's up there. There's a lot of episodes of Masters and the Pupil that I still have to upload, but I'm doing them, over time. And we also have 2 masters and stuff like that. So if you've been enjoying that new Yu-Gi-Oh content that we've been doing, great. And I'm going to continue to do it. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already, because I think those series are funny. I rage a lot of the times, and you get to see people rage quit when they play me. It's really dope. And Stango has all kinds of moments as well. So yeah, if you guys are interested in that type of thing, check out our Patreon. Honestly, I'm just loving everything that's been going on with the IMNerd podcast Patreon lately. Like the new Deck Doctor thing that is a tier, the Shadow game where you get to play me or Kenny in Edison format. It's been a lot of fun. So it revitalized my feelings towards Yu-Gi-Oh! Because as you guys know, I did quit modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And I thought that I would never play the game again. And to my surprise, Edison has really brought me back into loving Yu-Gi-Oh! And now I've been doing a lot of Patreon stuff with Edison format. And it just made me happy overall in like my actual life because I just almost forgot how much I love Yu-Gi-Oh! So anyways, without further ado, let me give a shout out to Connie, Austin, Leon, Quest, Garrett, Xavier, Hylian, Dimitri Barnes, Alexander Brissett, Vinny Casello, Giovanni Avalos, Alex Flamer, Andre Reynolds, CJ, Dub K Dad 1, Dan Variable, First to Home, Dallas Ramirez, S. Akuma, Mitchell Nels, Midwest Gaming, Demetrius Safirdas, Vince Marquette, Dallas Bailey, Roz Weiss, Nick Stengo, Hansel, a two-time national champion, Vincent Zen, Sarah Maria, Sunny Top Cut Podcast, Alex Ahern, Philip Campa, Jalen Haskins, Arale Melfi Slump, Keith Fuller, Chris Lynn, Jeff Luang, Blake Jeffrey Smith, Connor LK, MSW 2389, Edison Club, Kyle Botello, Brandon Moore, and Sugal. Thank you guys so much. Also, Keith Fuller, also known as King Petty. Just wanted to make sure I went back and fixed that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining the IMNerd podcast. Again, thank you. I've been sending out a lot of links to our Discord server, which you get access to by even being at the lowest tier of our Patreon. And once you get access to it, you're in it forever. I don't kick anyone out just because they're not a patron anymore. You have to do something crazy for you to get kicked out. And so far, no one has done that. It's actually been a very pleasant experience with all the people in our Discord server. I think it's like over 50 people now. But we've been having a pleasant experience with our Discord server. And people are able to suggest podcast topics and stuff like that. And they talk about, we talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And anime and Game of Thrones and all types of random shit. There's even like sports channels in there that I do not even bother to touch. That channel will be bolded in white for me forever. But shout out to whoever, well, I know who made it. Dominique Roberts made it. So shout out to you for actually helping to organize our Discord, make all the channels and stuff like that. That's actually really cool. And yeah, again, shout out to everybody who just joined the IMNerd podcast Patreon in this last several days, and everyone who's been rocking with us for literally almost 2 years now. Like, we have a lot of people who have been here since the beginning, and that's just crazy. Like, that is fucking crazy. So if you guys are interested in joining the Patreon, check it out. Click on our link tree. It's also in the description of pretty much all of our YouTube videos. And so yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube too. Our YouTube channel still is under like 500 subscribers. Help us out. If you're listening to this and you like our content, subscribe to the YouTube. The YouTube actually has podcast episodes for the most part. And the YouTube has a lot of things that are just like are not on.
Yeah, we've got good clips coming out. We've got some different Yu-Gi-Oh episodes. Every now and then we stream on there. So, YouTube's got shit going on.
Yep. So check out our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, help us out, help us to grow. And we really appreciate that. So I think that's everything. As I always say, guys, do the things that make you happy. And we will catch you in the next one.
So long.
So long, Gay Bowser.